Richard Steeb will spend the next 18 years of his life in prison. A judge accepted a plea agreement during an emotional hearing just this morning.
Steeb was arrested back in August after breaking into a Fruita-Man shed, firing a gun into the air, and then leading police on a chase that ended with a K-9 nearly drowning.
11 News reporter Tim Siesko was at the hearing this morning. He joins us now live from the Mays County Justice Center with that story. Tim.
Well, there was hardly a moment today where there weren't tears coming out of Richard Steeb's eyes. During the proceedings, he told the courtroom he wanted to take responsibility for his actions and that he was, quote, sincerely sorry for what happened. And as his family tells us in an interview you'll only see right here on 11 News, he was a broken man that night.
He was trying to go be with his wife, who he'd loved since they were 17 years old. And not being able to be there and take care of her the way that he felt he needed to be was a big part of what caused everything.
Justin Steeb says it's a sad story with a sad ending for all. On the night of August 11th, his brother Richard, stricken with grief over the loss of his wife who had died a week earlier, was trying to kill himself. But grief wasn't the only demon guiding him that day.
He has a drug problem, a really bad drug problem, and we need to recognize that before we can get any further.
His family and attorneys say he had been using meth to cope, a drug he struggled with from a young age, and it was because of his state of mind that night he ran into a Fruita-Man shed and ultimately got into a struggle with a canine named Aldo, a struggle that nearly cost Aldo his life.
I hope that the community is satisfied with what they provided him with, what sentencing he got.
Steeb was charged and convicted of first-degree criminal trespass, felony menacing, and possession of a weapon by a previous offender, all of which carried heightened sentences because of his criminal history. But both he and his family say the charge that was the toughest to swallow, aggravated animal cruelty.
He never hurt an animal. He would never hurt an animal.
He told the judge his wife loved animals, was a frequent volunteer at the Roycehurst Humane Society, and the two of them had raised 7 dogs together. His mother says it just goes to show what drugs can do to a person and the bad decisions they can lead people to make.
You just need to love your children and stay with them always, and always ask those questions that need to be asked.
Now, Aldo did survive and has since gone back to work. Authorities say, however, that this incident aggravated an injury he already had, and as a result, he's now limited in the duties he can perform. We'll send it back to the studio.
Tim Siesko live out at the Justice Center tonight. Thanks a lot, Tim.